All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rob Cagnetta, and this is the meeting of the South Kingstown, Rhode Island Zoning Board of Review. It is May 21st, 2025. Members present tonight are Thomas Daniels, our Vice Chairman, William Rosen, Arlene Hicks, Jeff Elia, and William McDonald. Also present are Amy Goins, South Kingstown Special Legal Counsel, Jamie Gorman, South Kingstown Building and Zoning Official, and Jessica Spence, our Administrative Support Associate. The board is made up of 8 people with 5 regular voting members. A minimum of 4 members are required to be present to vote. In the event that regular members are absent or recused, an alternate will step in. No more than 5 members are entitled to a vote, and at least 3 voting members are needed to grant the relief requested. Tonight, the voting members will be myself, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Rosen, Mrs. Hicks, Mr. Elia, and Mr. McDonald. Is that right? No, not Mr. McDonald. So he's the alternate, sorry. The applicants here are here for either dimensional or use variance with a special use permit. The board is a quasi-judicial body created by the South Kingstown Ordinance pursuant to state statutes. We don't follow strict rules of evidence, and we operate in what we believe to be in a fair and equitable manner. We try to let everyone speak unless you get carried away or it's deemed not relevant. So for the interest of time, please be brief and on point. We do our best not to argue and keep things civil, and we try to start our last petition by 10 o'clock, which won't be a problem tonight. After we introduced your petition, please step up to the microphone, adjusting it as necessary. This thing is pretty flexible. The red light indicates that it's on, so you want to press the button with the little image of a person speaking, and turn it off when you're not speaking because it ends up reverberating through the room. Clearly state your name and spell it for the record. You will then be asked to take an oath to tell the truth. After that, you can present your petition with any witnesses to testify in support of the application. The board will then ask you or your witness questions. After petitioner has presented their testimony, anyone with questions in support of or opposition to the petition can step up to the microphone. You will identify yourself, be sworn in, and present your testimony with follow-up questions from the board. Please do not direct questions or comments to the petitioner or any other witnesses. The board will direct questions to the petitioner or its witnesses after the comment period. After hearing all the testimony, board members will discuss the application and the evidence presented. Board members ask a lot of questions, and there's a good reason. We cannot just grant anything we choose, and there are rules to follow per the South Kingstown Ordinance. So you must give testimony to support certain facts that are in order for the request to be approved. So tonight we have 2 extensions and a dimensional variance. Let's see, for a dimensional variance, you must present the following evidence: that your hardship is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or the structure, but it's not due to the general characteristic of the surrounding area. Your hardship is not the result of any prior action on your part, and that the granting of the variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area, and that your hardship by the denial of the variance will amount to more than a mere inconvenience. That basically means that the relief sought is minimal to reasonably enjoy the permitted use of the property that it's proposed for. So, and we don't have a special use on here, so I don't think we need to read that in. All right, nothing to announce? Okay. So, tonight, we have first the petition of Hang 10 LLC of 895 Matunic Beach Road, Wakefield, Rhode Island, for a 1-year extension under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking a 1-year extension of the previously granted special use permit to establish a 92-seat exterior service area associated with the existing restaurant with alcohol. That's a use code 56.1. The original special use had a 2-year expiration date and was granted on May 17th, 2023. It was recorded on May 31st, 2023 in South Kingstown Land Evidence, Book 1857 and pages 338 and 339. The owner of Hang 10 The owner is Hang 10 LLC for premises located at 895A Matunic Beach Road, South Kingstown. Assessors map 92-3, Lot 2, and is zoned CN, commercial neighborhood. The applicant requests a one-year extension with an expiration date of May 31st, 2026, pursuant to Section 908B of the zoning ordinance. And I will note that all the materials received for this application are entered into the record, just so you know. And good evening.
Good evening, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Attorney Matthew Landry from the Office of Bush and Kavanaugh on behalf of the applicant. I think it was about 2 years almost to the date that we were here before you seeking this special use permit in the first place. I am joined by Kevin Finnegan, who's here with me if there's any additional information or questions from the applicant. It's fairly straightforward. We are asking for a one-year extension of that special use permit. You may recall that there were certain regulations in place following COVID-19 to allow outdoor seating areas. Kevin's operated an exterior tent and seating and liquor service area at the exterior of the OMIST for many, many years. And out of an abundance of caution, we came before the board following that temporary service authorization and that outdoor seating, those regulations during COVID, in order to introduce a modification to that outdoor seating. There was no expansion of seating. It was really more of a reconfiguration of where the seats were to accommodate a new central service bar in that area. Over the last 2 years, Mr. Finnegan has been engaged in a number of activities and projects on the property that may impact the overall design and layout of what had been originally approved pursuant to this request. One of those things was a request from the fire marshal to install new means of egress from the pub that's immediately next door that Mr. Finnegan owns. There were some building permits and easement and a whole project associated with just that. It lands at or around the area where this new service area would be. So that's one element that may impact the design. He's also been engaged in a number of discussions, as I'm sure you know, with the town on purchasing town land for the construction of a seawall. There's other modifications going on the property itself that may ultimately be affected or impact what had been proposed under this. So in light of all that and knowing that we'll have another year, Mr. Finnegan can make his own assessments and figure out what the final design will be, including whether or not making the tent a more permanent post and beam type structure. So respectfully asking for the one-year extension to allow that time for him to make those considerations.
And you mentioned that that they had to modify some of the ingress and egress from the adjacent building, but that didn't change anything on this proposal.
No, it didn't. No, so there was actually a landing spot in between the two properties. We conveyed an easement to the pub next door in order to construct that staircase per the request of the fire marshal, but it did not impact or affect this this design. But because of where that ingress and egress now is, it may require a modification of what had been proposed on this plan. It may need to be altered or relocated as a result.
Okay. Mr. Gorman, it's okay if we let this come through and you'll be the final eyes on this to make sure that everything is lined up as it should be?
Absolutely. I can take care of it, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Board members, questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Anything else you wanted to add?
That's all, Mr. Chairman. If there's any additional questions for Mr. Finnegan, I'm happy to have him opine on those.
Okay. I mean, not necessary, but if you wanted to, you... Okay. Very good. Thank you. Is there anyone out there that wants to speak on behalf of this petition at all? Nope. Okay. Seems reasonable. I mean, based on the conditions of the site and other modifications that were happening, doesn't seem like to be any changes.
I think as Mr. Landry mentioned, the applicant's got some additional issues going on with the property, and certainly I think a one-year extension is proper.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion?
Sure.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the petition of Hang 10 LLC at 895 Matunic Beach Road, Wakefield. The application was read into the record by the chairman. They're requesting a one-year extension. There's no objection to that. Mr. Landry made the presentation on behalf of his client, and with that, I would ask your approval to extend the special use permit that was granted a year ago to May 31st of 2026.
Motion was made by Mr. Daniels. Can I get a second? Second, Mr. Rosen. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Daniels? Aye. Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Mr. Elia? Aye. Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta? Aye. Motion passes. Good luck. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Next, we have the petition of Matunic Marketplace of 151 Old Tower Hill Road in Wakefield, Rhode Island, 02879, for a second one-year extension under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is requesting a second one-year extension of the previously granted special use permit to establish a 147-seat restaurant with alcohol, use code 56.1, within the existing structure. The original special use was granted on May 31st, 2023, and recorded in the South Kingstown Land Evidence on June 9th of 2023, Book 1857, and page 763 through 765. The first one-year extension was granted on April 24th, 2024, and is recorded in South Kingstown Land Evidence on May 6th, 2024, Book 1879, page 412. The owner of the is the Matunic Marketplace LLC for the premises located at 151 Old Tower Hill Road, South Kingstown. Assessors map 57-2, lot 51, and is zoned CH Commercial Highway. Applicant requests a second one-year extension with an expiration date of June 9th, 2026, pursuant to the sections 910B of the zoning ordinance. And I will say it again, that all documents were submitted and entered into the record. So good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Elizabeth Noonan. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Adler, Pollack & Sheehan, and I represent the Matunic Marketplace and the property at 151 Old Tower Hill Road. The principal, Perry Rasso, is here this evening. Not that he had anything else going on, but we're here on for the second extension of this property. As you recall, this was a special use permit for a restaurant with alcohol service. We had a lot of neighbors at that hearing, and you put some conditions on that property, which, since the neighbors did receive notice of the second hearing, I assume everything is still good. Mr. Rasso has had a lot of other things going on, and he's been building the hatchery and that project, so it's really just a matter of prioritizing projects, getting that done, and then obviously with the events of the last couple of days, determining what will go forward from there. So we're looking for the additional year. This had been scheduled anyway for hearing tonight. But as it is, as I said, the special use permit's in place for the proposed restaurant with a market, but we would ask for another year as we sort of sort through the business plan. And Mr. Rasso is here if there's any questions for him.
And still the same 147 seats?
No change to the plans at this point, exactly.
Okay. And, I mean, and there was a plan entered into that, but there is, really, we're just looking for the 147 at this point, so it could be altered, right? I mean, they could make some modifications to how things are arranged going forward, perhaps?
I believe the service area, the seating count, and I believe the conditions tied with the rear parking lot, I think those will be carried over, but certainly minor adjustments to the floor plan wouldn't affect the special use permit.
Okay. And is there anything else that you wanted to add?
I have nothing further, no.
Board members, questions for the attorney at all? No? Would Mr. Rasso like to speak on behalf of the restaurant? You don't need to, but okay. So if there isn't anything else to add, we can just see if there's anybody else out here that wants to hear about
That'd
it.
be fine, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You guys want to speak on this behalf of this petition, for or against?
Supporters.
Okay, anyone have any discussion on this? Straightforward, absolutely. Someone want to make a motion, or I could just, so I'll make a motion to approve the petition of Matunic Marketplace for a second one-year extension under the zoning ordinance. It was requested first on May 31st, 2023, and they have asked for one extension since, and are now asking again because of the various projects that have been going on, and they're looking to get this one started this year. So it's a reasonable request that we're going to extend this until June 9th, 2026, with the same
Conditions.
expectations as the first application. So no changes. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve the one-year extension. Can I get a second? Second, Mr. Daniels. Any other discussion? No. Hearing none. Mr. Cagnetta, aye. Mr. Daniels. Mr. Elia. Mr. Rosen. Ms. Hicks.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Great, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thanks.
Good luck, Barry. Thank you, man. Okay. So next we have the petition of Mariana Zotos and Gregory Rasso of 191 Wardens Pond Road, South Kingstown, Rhode Island, 02879 for a dimensional variance under the zoning ordinance as follows. The applicant is seeking to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling 15.3 feet away from the rear property line. The required The required rear yard setback is 35 feet, therefore a relief of 19.7 feet is requested. Lot size is 0.65 acres. Dimensional variance is required per the zoning ordinance section 205B. Single non-conforming recorded lots in section 907 are standards of relief. Owners of the property are Gregory Rosso and Mariana Zotos for premises located at 191B Wardens Pond Road, South Kingstown. Assessors map 61 lot 54 and is zoned R80, and the documents have been submitted and entered into the record. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. My name is Patrick Doherty. I'm counsel for the applicants. I'd just like to add a couple of things into the record for your reasoning. This property was granted relief by a zoning decision at a meeting held on December 21st of 2022. It was granted relief of 25.9 feet. We're actually seeking less relief now as a result of changes in the law that have occurred in the interim time period. One extension was requested in November of 2023. It was granted, and then unfortunately, second extension was not applied for. Part of the reasoning for this too is when they were getting into the nuts and bolts of the building, they realized that instead of doing a renovation, there was no way they were going to be able to utilize any of it. It was in such poor shape. The architects worked in conjunction with my clients and also some builders. They come up with a pretty good plan that necessitates less relief being granted at this point. And I understand that we're trying to do a streamlined presentation here. I have Mr. Ed Pimentel, who's been recognized as an expert before your board in the past. I would request that he be given that status here as well.
Absolutely, yes. Mr. Pimentel was been recognized by this board numerous times.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm happy to have him here on my side versus on the opposing side.
Well, we have 2.5 hours until 10 o'clock, so you've got some time.
Well, one of the things that we'd like to note here is that, again, that this is much less relief than was required before. We have received no opposition. It's in a very unique area. The property is very undersized. It's in an R80 district. It's 0.65 acres. So it's entitled to quite a bit of relief. It's detailed in Mr. Pimentel's report. Also, he has put in evidence of adherence to the three standard criteria, and then the catch-all one, subsection E, as well. On the last 2 pages of his report, I could have him give a narrative and do a question and answer with regard to that, or if the board would like, you could accept the written documentation as evidence of compliance with those standards.
Yeah, I think certainly an overview of what you discovered. I mean, it looks like on its surface that you're proposing it to be a little bit closer than the existing building because of the angle that you're adding onto. And the building is already 2/3 of it is out of the setback as it is. Oh, yes. Please, state your name.
Edward Pimentel, that's P as in Paul, I-M-E-N-T-E-L.
And you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Excellent. So please, go ahead and tell us what you got to say.
Sure. So, as Attorney Doherty said, as we got into the nuts and bolts, and even more so, with the new energy code, it just was not viable to save this structure and meet current code. But obviously, we want to take advantage of the disturbed portion of the property, because it is a substandard lot, and take advantage of where the foundation was and so forth, and where the OWTS has been approved. And quite honestly, we got one more neighbor, because we traverse over theirs. It's staying as far away from that one neighbor as possible, because we're up against a private land resource under the Boy Scouts. So, I mean, it's much more important to give more privacy to the one neighbor and try to stay as far back and take advantage of what's already disturbed. We didn't want to move it forward, would just create more chaos and disturbance on the land and get closer to the neighbors. So it made more sense, and as Attorney Doherty says, it actually benefits us now because the law has changed, and so we have the ability to seek it with less relief required, although least relief I know is not a burden anymore. So having said that, I did the extensive neighborhood analysis. We're primarily surrounded by the town of South Keystone land resources, or quasi-public private. There's only a handful of houses in the area. And it is an area all zoned R80, and we're a 22,000 square foot lot. There's nothing we can do about that. We can't increase the lot. We can't increase the building envelope. So we're managing with the pre-existing conditions of the lot, the pre-existing positioning of the old house, and taking advantage of that so we don't create any further disturbance. So having said that, I believe that the hardship does emanate from both land and structure. These are not conditions of the property owner. Even so, I think we're protecting the character of the neighborhood by, like I said, maintaining the status quo. The area is already disturbed, and a denial would just require a total revamping, which I believe would be well beyond mere inconvenience, in my humble opinion.
So you mentioned with as little disturbance as possible, so the intent, it looks like, is that a fairly mature tree there and driveway and so forth, so a lot of that's going to be
Reutilized.
for the most part, maintained?
Reutilized, correct. And that was the intent of this, correct.
Yeah, and so the grading of the property and all that will pretty much be maintained, so you don't
Correct.
have to manipulate the property as much.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, you say obviously there's, you're less land percentage than most properties around you, but there's a lot of land around you.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. We are one of the, look, I understand why we're zoned R80, because that's the character of the neighborhood. You're not going to go spot zone us R21. But the majority of the lots, I mean, usually I'm doing a neighborhood analysis for boards such as yourself, and I've got sheets and sheets of Excel spreadsheets. There was no need, because most of these lots are like hundreds of acres surrounding it, so there was no need. And the few house lots that do exist are kind of on par with our house lot. So I think it is, it's just the way it was. You had these little sporadic homes situated throughout, and we're one of them, and we're trying to bring it in accordance with the code.
And to add one more thing, as an attorney, giving notice can be one of the biggest headaches on the planet, and this required 3 mailings.
Oh, really?
Out of all. The DEM was one, the Boy Scouts of America were another, and then the Gilmores, who live in 191A, depicted up on the screen over there, were the others. So
Who would be the most impacted by this?
exactly, and that's why my clients wanted to maintain the most separation as
Correct.
possible, to give them their privacy. They're also intending on keeping as much of the shrubbery and the trees out there as well, to give them a little bit of separation and privacy, because as you can see, the driveway goes right through, adjacent to the house, through an easement coming onto their property. So you want to be respectful of the neighbors, and when you look at it, the Boy Scouts of America, they wouldn't even be able to access that other than on foot and cutting through brush with a machete.
Right. Well, they might.
The only neighbor that the setback would have any issue with would be the Boy Scouts that contain 8,394,000 square feet of land area. I don't think we're going to be impacting them.
Okay. Anything else to add?
No, thank you.
Board members, questions for this witness? Or for this expert, excuse me?
Just one quick question. The house that was there that you were refurbishing, and you went in and found that it was pretty bad shape. Have you torn that down, or is, in the process of looking through it, is it?
Yeah, it's still existing. I mean, and if you went in, it doesn't, it's nowhere near code. There are portions of it that are just rotting away. It was an old camp, really, for lack of a better word. You know, a private camp, not an institutional one.
Yeah, because I remember when you were here before that you were definitely going to refurbish it and live there.
They were hoping to, but when they got into the new codes, the architect and the builder, they're like, look,
Yeah.
this isn't viable. It's just not viable.
Yeah, I don't want to step on Mr. Gorman's toes, because he's obviously much more of an expert in this field than I would ever be. But if you were to ask him, if you're going to try to bring that existing footprint, the new energy code that just went into effect in the beginning of the new year, you're going to end up with a new structure anyway. So why are you trying to modify something just to say we're saving the footprint? It'd be foolhardy. Thank you.
Any other questions, board members? No. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to
Oh.
answer any other questions.
Yeah, nothing else.
No, there's nothing further to add. I just ask that you, obviously, you've taken the report, and all the content of that is in the record as well as evidence, so I'm satisfied with that.
Great, thank you.
As long as you are. If you have any
Yeah,
questions.
no, I mean, I do remember this from years ago, so
Yeah,
I remember
we-
a lot of things. but
I want
do
to
remember.
add, that was when Prout was on for a redesign of their thing, and
Yep.
my clients got a standing ovation after your decision. It was the first in my legal career, and
Well,
wanted to
we were
make
an
note of that
excitable bunch.
historic moment again.
I don't think we're going to repeat that tonight, though, sorry.
I don't think so, unless we're all hearing voices and clapping in our heads.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seems reasonable. I think, even though we've seen it before, it's a reasonable reuse of that property, and it doesn't seem like that they're disturbing any of the neighbors. So, anyone have any particular thoughts about this?
I'll just say it seems like the applicant has jumped the highest hurdles they have to jump with the EM and with the CRMC wetlands approvals, and not CRMC, but you've got the septic approval, and you've got the wetlands approval, and those two hurdles are probably larger than the hurdle you're going to face here tonight. So I don't have any problem with it.
All right. I don't think there's anyone else here. So, would someone like to make a motion for this petition, or?
Yeah, I'll make one,
All right.
if I can remember some names. At a meeting on May 21st, the petition of Mariana Zotos and Gregory Rasso of 191B Warden Pond Road was placed before us, and I will move approval of this petition. Mr. Doherty, the lawyer, and Mr. Pimentel, what's your title? Now? Used to be the title sitting over there, I remember that. Anyway, I moved the petition. There were no people in the audience to speak for or against the petition. And all materials were placed before the board by the chairman. And the petition and the motion itself was read into the record, so I'll just go forward. The board finds that the hardship from which the applicant seeks release is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land and the structure, and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area. Well, actually, it is due to the surrounding area, simply because there's nothing but forest around them other than one neighbor. And they're going to simply tear down the structure that's there, that's in terrible shape, and build a new structure, which I hope, I'm sure will be better looking than the one that I saw a number of years ago. The board finds that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant. As a matter of fact, it's because of the structure that was there and the shape that it was in, that they're going to have to tear it down and rebuild so that they have enough room to carry forward with the family that they hope to raise there. The board finds that the granting of the requested variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan upon which the ordinance is based. They're going to use the same footprint that is there. They're not moving the structure or placing the new structure any closer to the water. They have all the necessary permits for septic system and the wetlands as such, and they're going to hopefully move forward as quickly as possible. The board finds that the hardship suffered by the owner of the subject property, if the dimensional variance is not granted, amounts to more than a mere inconvenience, meaning that the relief of the minimal is a reasonable employment of the permitted use for which the property is proposed. And this is simply because the structure there is not in shape to be a home at this time, and I wish them luck, and I move approval of this petition.
Excellent. Motion is made by Mr. Rosen. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Elia. Any other comments, suggestions? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Rosen?
Aye.
Mr. Elia?
Aye.
Mr. Daniels? Aye. Ms. Hicks?
Aye.
Mr. Cagnetta? Aye. Motion passes. Good luck, guys. Yeah, you're welcome. Help your brother. I know you will. Thanks, guys. Oh, really? Oh, see? Perfect. Excellent. Good job. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't know. All right. So I think all we have are the minutes from, when is this from? Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Anybody see any changes or any problems? No? So moved. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next month, we have a meeting? Okay. June 21st.
21st? No, 18th.
18th?
I'm out.
You're out? Okay. I believe I will be here. Everybody else? It's good? Okay. Excellent. Okay, anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
So moved. All in favor? Aye.